All right, everyone. Donald Trump is blown out this time. Mueller is going after his Twitter feed. So, naturally, this is going to be the end of Trump, said increasingly nervous Democrats for the last 1,000 years. This time he's done for. This time Mueller is going to get, the infamous piece of evidence that allows him to jail Donald Trump, and he'll be dragged away in irons and impeached, and it'll be wonderful. That's what some people actually believe. And then I think about that, and I think, I think that we do have a problem in this country with people going fucking off their rocker because they've got Trump derangement system too badly. Mueller obviously doesn't have anything. He's like, well, I need to investigate maybe some of Donald Trump's tweets. Don't worry, I'm going through them, people. They're all public, dude. There's nothing hidden there. What are you going to find? What, his statements on Cohen or his former lawyer, or his statements on Mueller, looking for obstruction? You can't obstruct justice by insulting somebody with your Twitter account, even if you're the president of the United States. Saying, hey, Mueller's an asshole is not obstructing his investigation. Obviously, since you're investigating his Twitter. Now, I think it's mysterious because this comes, less than a day after Trump says, hey, yeah, we're going to probe Twitter a little bit because of this shadow banning stuff. It seems lopsided. I'm getting many complaints by prominent conservative and Republican voices saying Twitter is manipulating their algorithms. It was funny because Twitter claimed, oh, it's not so, and yet we've got, some of their employees on record from Veritas tapes saying, yeah, that's exactly what we do. Twitter itself basically verifies the practice by saying, no, we don't shadow ban people. All we do is demote their posts based on their content, and we manipulate where they appear in search. Oh, so in other words, a shadow ban. If a person's systemically more edgy, yeah, they're less visible than someone who's very G-rated and has the priority user blue check mark. Who'd have thunk it? Sounds kind of like a shadow ban. Okay, you're not actually banned, it's just nobody outside of your little inner circle can see what you post. Okay, you're not banned at all, you can use the service, it's just you can't actually interact with anything. So you can post, but you can't really interact. Okay, not a shadow ban, totally not mincing words there at all. Mueller doesn't have shit. I'm going to tell you what the Mueller probe has devolved into. Mueller has lots of evidence that Paul Manafort laundered money, to the point where he's got to dig even deeper, so he's got to give Tony Podesta immunity, and nobody's questioning that. That's funny. So this high-ranking so-called Reagan Republican, he's getting investigated. And this other dude that partnered with him at the time, and I think, left his own foundation at the time, the Podesta Group, who happens to be John Podesta's brother, John Podesta, the same one that basically headed Clinton's campaign. That dude, the top-ranking Democrat, he's like in the top echelon of the entire party. His brother was working with Manafort. Oh, he gets immunity to testify. And closed testimony that we'll probably never see. It'll be used as evidence anyway. Somehow these are considered proper legal proceedings. So you can get a warrant based on falsehoods, at least in part. Nobody bats an eye. And then you can go digging for evidence for the warrant retroactively. Man, police departments all over the country are salivating at the ability of these groups, at the ability of Mueller and the FBI to conduct their investigations with rubber stamps in such a wanton manner that it clearly violates the Fourth Amendment. But, nobody's worried about that because Donald Trump had 2 scoops of ice cream and 2 genders and 2 terms. It's so terrible. They're so deranged and so out to get him at this point. I think for Mueller, it's not that. I don't even think he's a partisan hack. You know what I honestly believe? I honestly believe Mueller, on the words of Rosenstein and McCabe and all these others, he's like, well, something fishy went on here. I need to get this warrant here. I need to investigate. When he began investigating, though, he realized that the only criminality he found had nothing to do with Trump. It's like Carter Page. They thoroughly investigated Carter Page, who remains close to Trump. They found nothing, or they would have indicted him by now. All of the major indictments have already been handed down. Manafort and Flynn, they probably won't even get Flynn behind bars. Manafort basically sealed his own fate, fell on his own sword by attempting to obstruct. Provably so. He attempted to tamper with witnesses, even though he probably isn't even fully guilty of anything they can jail him for. He signed his own death warrant, in other words, and now he's being tortured in 23 hours a day of solitary. It's draconian, but I mean, he did need to be put behind bars. He was trying to fuck with the witnesses. By the way, for someone like Trump, it'd be terrible if the case does hit him. He doesn't want Manafort tampering and being stupid because it makes it look like he's guilty. Not that I expect Trump to be indicted. It's like Don Jr. was investigated. Eric Trump, Jared Kushner, Carter Page, Roger Stone. All these people are named and yet nothing. This is Trump's inner circle. Paul Manafort was a campaign manager who he fired. Michael Flynn was an advisor who was let go of. It looks like Trump purged the dirt from his ranks early on, switched over to a more streamlined, family-centric campaign, probably when he realized how shady people were. You know, if he ends up talking at all to Mueller, he might just say, hey, yeah, I fired him because he was laundering money years ago. And, I would have told the FBI, but they already knew about it because I knew they had a spy on my campaign. Yeah, I knew about that all along. It'd be really funny. Then it comes out. Today they're like, well, Trump had foreknowledge. Trump knew about that meeting with the Russian at Trump Tower. The infamous meeting where Don Jr. and these others, I think Roger Stone was there. He knew it happened. He even gave it the green light. Wow, he said in his own words, he's finished. No, he's not. Because guess what? At the time, the Russian agent, again, so-called, supposedly, who was also at DNC rallies, mysteriously enough, and tried to give dirt to Democrats as well, hadn't offered them any dirt when it was green-lighted. That was after the fact. Before, when they're saying, yeah, I want to meet up, it was for mundane political purposes, misrepresenting the purpose. You'll remember this. This was part of official testimony at the time. Remember when this story first came out? And they said, yeah, we met with this individual. She didn't say anything about dirt on Hillary Clinton when we first met. We agreed to the meeting, and then at the meeting she offered it. We realized she was full of shit, kicked her out, and said, no, it's no deal. That's not against the law. It's not against the law to meet with somebody who is not representing themselves as having any criminal or dubious interests. And when you then reject their offer, that's not a blot on your character. It's a good thing about you. When Eric Trump says, oh yeah, me and Roger Stone were fucking laughing about that bitch thereafter because she had nothing. It was obviously a setup. It was politically partisan, and so we realized it was a hack job and kicked her out of the tower. That's not illegal. Not in any way, shape, or form. None of these people will be indicted for that. And to say and to claim when the legacy media ignores this fact and says, well, it should be #1 trending news worldwide anyway that Trump gave it the green light, who cares? At the time it was green lighted, nobody knew she was going to try to hand them over op research that wasn't even real about Hillary Clinton. Nobody even knew that. Was a payment made? Did Trump know that the dirt was going to be offered? No, none of that. So it's a non-story. I'm not even going to make a separate video about it. By the way, it got knocked out of the news very quickly because people pointed that out, including myself. It's like, oh, that Trump Tower meeting. Oh, yeah. The one where they rejected breaking the law. The one where people like Roger Stone and Don Jr. did not violate any laws or campaign regulations and kick somebody out for being full of shit. Okay, well, then, yeah, big story. Trump is finished. Mueller's got nothing. What he's got is a Manafort money laundering scheme that he's throwing immunity deals out left and right for in order to catch him as the kingpin of a 10-year-old criminal operation in which he laundered money for some Ukrainian politicians and probably made tens of millions doing so. He might end up cracking down on some people associated with the Podesta group in order, by the way, to justify that and make it look less obviously partisan. And he might get Flynn. That's basically the sum and substance of it. When Mueller comes out, when he finally gets done dicking around and wasting time and money, and has to come out and say, well, we found no wrongdoing with Trump or his inner circle. It's Manafort laundered money a while ago. He wasn't even a friend of Trump at the time. Whoops, well, I guess that doesn't bode well for the Democrats in the electoral sense. It's just a matter of how long can Mueller justify what has become a witch hunt. It's the Podesta, it's the Manafort probe at this point. It's not a Trump probe. You'll remember originally, we were told this is about Russian collusion with people on the Trump campaign to defraud the election. That has been watered down now twice. Now it's about, hey, there were some Russians that attempted to interfere with the election. They failed, but we're indicting them anyway. And we found a money laundering scheme that has nothing to do with the Trump campaign. So there was no Russian collusion. Come out and say it. Stop being a coward all your life. That's about all. Peace out.